Well, hello, parents, and welcome to today's Adoption Chat Corner. This is where we actually are talking about things that are relevant to you in your
Absolutely.
world in a way that's a little bit more casual than normal. And hopefully, that is a lot more enjoyable because you're going to have it with a nice hot beverage like a cup of tea or coffee or anything else. I'm a teetotaler, so I'm totally drinking tea right now. And whatever you have in your cup, I'm sure it's great too. Anyways, these chats are really there to help you as a parent feel more empowered and to have more control over what's going on in your child's world so that these tantrums and outbursts and meltdowns that just seem to come out of nowhere happen way less than they need to. So that's the goal of all of these adoption chats. And we are actually in the middle of a series. This is a series about predicting, preventing, and preparing for different kinds of triggers that happen throughout the calendar year. These are the pressures that build up in your child and in your family that can really just contribute to those not so great things happening. Okay? So, this is the second part of our series, and this chat is going to be about holidays. All right? And specifically, American holidays.
Yes. So there's a lot of American holidays. Holidays like Valentine's Day, holidays like 4th of July.
The list
So,
goes on
you
and
know,
on.
with all of these holidays, there's a potential for there to have a lot of intense emotions that come with them, specifically for your child.
Exactly. Yep. And those emotions are very real. So, even though there is a ton of holidays that are celebrated in America, we are actually going to focus on 3/4 that have the most potential to have an effect on your child in terms of how they are functioning inside. Okay? So, the first is like a 1A, 1B, which is Mother's Day and Father's Day. They go together. And then there's Thanksgiving, and then the last one would be Christmas.
Yep.
Yeah. So those would be the major ones that we'll cover today. So we'll start off with Mother's Day and Father's Day. Now, even though they are celebrated separately, at their very core, they have the same kind of challenges that are present in both of those holidays. Okay? So Mother's Day and Father's Day have to do with something that everybody has, which are birth parents. And your child is no different. They have birth parents. And so in my previous work working with adoptive families, there's two viewpoints that are going on at the same time. There's the child's view and experience, and then there's the parent's view. Okay, so we will start talking about the child. Makes
Okay.
sense? Yes, so with the child, they have a lot of stuff going on. But the major thing that's going on with them that it's impacting them the most right now is that with their birth parents, they are not with. They are not with their birth parents. They are with their adoptive parents now. And they actually have the potential of having even more than one set of previous parents, right? There's birth parents, there's foster parents, there's grandparents. There could even be an auntie and an uncle who was, filling that role of a parent. So it can get pretty layered. It can get pretty deep when
That's
it
right.
comes to parents that are not physically with them and they're not with them anymore, but that they've had experiences with. And so for them, they're probably dealing with two different sets of emotions that are pulling them in opposite directions. So you have the negative emotions, which could be the anger, the confusion, the frustration, the disappointment of not being with their birth parents anymore, right? And then you also have at the same time very real positive attachment emotions like love, like a longing to be with them, like a happy time
Yeah.
and even happy memories that are associated with their previous parents. And for them, they're just trying to, first of all, figure out how to manage all that inside.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, they're also trying to figure out, okay, I have these memories and these positive emotions, or sometimes negative, with my previous parents. And I also have positive range of emotions with my new adoptive
Yep.
parents.
Yep.
So then they're asking the question, am I allowed to express my emotions about my previous parents with this new parent, with this new family? Am I allowed to express it? Because maybe I can't. Maybe I might hurt their feelings. Maybe things might go wrong if I, if I get them upset and actually tell them that I actually still love my birth parents. These are very real questions that they're asking, and they're usually inside, and they're not going to just tell you. So they're just kind of building up if they don't feel like they can express those things. And that is what's going on with them when it comes to Mother's Day and Father's Day.
Okay. So I'm getting it, right? Mother's Day and Father's Day, 1, 2, A, B, they have a lot of similarities in terms of how that can affect your child or a child in general. So now we have something like Thanksgiving.
Well,
This
you
is
also
a
have the
big
parents'
one.
side of things as well.
Oh, yes. So let's just go back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm getting it. So there's all this big emotions that come with these two holidays. It could get really intense between Mother's Day and Father's Day. We address the children's side. So what's some of the difficulties that would come with the parent side?
Exactly. Yep. So the parents have a whole nother set of challenges, and they're very real as well because, as you know, like I said, my work with the adoptive parents is that as an adult, they are very aware of the negative circumstances and events that led to their child being available for adoption in the first place. And as an adult, in their mind, they're not understanding how their child could still have positive emotions directed towards these people. If they're talking about their birth parents or their previous foster parents
Right.
or anything like that, if there were negative things that happened that led for them to get into their home, for an adult, as the parent, they're not understanding if those emotions are being expressed by their child. How could that be? Why they know, especially if the child is aware of what happened and they're able to express it, they're saying to themselves, why would they still have these emotions there when they know what happened and they remember what happened?
Right.
So they sometimes even direct those emotions of confusion, anger, disappointment, all that towards the child. Because for them, they're saying, well, if it were me, I wouldn't deal with them anymore. I would just forget about them, all that bad stuff that happened. And they're not understanding the child's perspective. And therefore, there's that pressure that is building up inside the parent. And it gets expressed, even if it's not always obvious, to the child. They pick up on it. And
That's
then
good.
that is another layer of pressure that's building up. And that could easily become a trigger that sets things off in one way or another. So that is how both, in terms of Mother's Day and Father's Day in general, they're actually very positive holidays. So it's
They are.
definitely not something to focus on the negative part of. There's so many, wonderful ways to it can be acknowledged and celebrated. As a parent, of course, it's something you look forward to. And at the same time, there has to be an acknowledgement that these other things are going on with your child and that they're wrestling with things that we as adults may not even be aware of. And the idea is to increase that awareness so that we can actually get to the bottom of what may be going on with your child in that moment.
Thank you for that. That makes sense.
Good, I'm glad.
So moving on from Mother's Day and Father's Day, let's look at something that is pretty big. We talk about these 4 holidays, Mother's Day and Father's Days being 1A and
Yeah,
1B.
kind of together.
But now let's look at Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is a pretty big one here in this region in terms of what people's expectations are and how maybe they celebrate it. So
Exactly.
tell us a little bit about Thanksgiving.
Exactly. Yes. So Thanksgiving is relevant for a number of different reasons because a lot of what makes Thanksgiving what it is are the traditions, the way that families have done things in the past that they pass on every year after year, and that makes it such a solid part and piece of American culture. And it is an American holiday. A lot of other cultures and countries around the world don't really acknowledge Thanksgiving, which makes sense because it is, from our American history.
So, so a child coming in, potentially from maybe either a different family or a different country,
Yep.
they might not be as aware of this particular holiday and how intense it might be
Yeah.
for us here.
Yeah, exactly. If your child is from another country, or even if you as a parent are from another country, may not have had the benefit of a lifetime of just having these cultural expectations and traditions just be a part of how you do life.
That's right.
Because it's new to you. It's either new to your child, new to you as an adult even, or new to both of you. So there's all those kind of things that are taken into consideration just from a cultural perspective, right? And then aside from the cultural part of things, you also have the fact that there is all kinds of ways that it is celebrated.
That's right.
And it's
Yeah.
going to look different in every household depending on what that looks like and what the traditional expectations have always been. So, for example, if your child lived in a household where there were a lot of people around for Thanksgiving and people were coming over and there's all kinds of food and all these festivities, and then in your household it's not the same. It may be smaller, more intimate. There's not a lot of people around, totally different kind of food. It's going to have a totally different feel for them. And at the same time, those previous years of celebrating or even not celebrating are very real to them. It's very much in their memory. They're going to remember it one way or another. And so they may not know what to do with that. They may not know if they should let you know that, what's going on here is different and it feels weird and I don't know about it. Or I like it and I like it better than the other place. I don't know if I should say anything about that either. Either way, they may not know how to express it. And also, a crowd may be a good thing for you, may not be a good thing for them. I mean, we've even talked about that in a previous chat about the fact that you can't assume that just because there's a lot of people around that it automatically means it's a good thing and it's a good feeling for your child.
That makes sense.
Exactly. So Thanksgiving has those layers with it, and it's always important to keep that in mind because it's not always going to be so obvious that that's what's going on with your child.
That's good. So, unlike Thanksgiving, we have this next holiday now, which is Christmas. Christmas is a pretty big one. It's celebrated everywhere.
Worldwide.
But even though it's celebrated everywhere, is there a possibility that maybe it is celebrated differently in different countries? I mean, we can talk about things like from gift giving to Christmas Eve, to the day after Christmas, to the day of Christmas. Like, what does it mean? Either from a religious perspective or just like a family perspective. Like, how would we deal with something like Christmas, which even though it's as intense as Thanksgiving, in a lot of ways it might be different. And different for every child or different for the parent as well.
Exactly. All of those things are definitely relevant. So thank you for bringing that up. And as you have alluded to, it is a big deal for multiple reasons. Not necessarily the same as Thanksgiving. There are some folks who may just skip over Thanksgiving, like it's not there. But Christmas, we don't skip. Mostly everybody finds a way to acknowledge that Christmas is happening. And so once again, it can mean so many different things to your child because they have experienced a Christmas before they lived with you, with their birth parents, with their foster parents, with their grandparents, whoever they were with, whatever that family dynamic was like. There was a Christmas there, and it has all the things that go with it. And it has different kinds of meaning that are attached to those things. And emotional memory is so strong, whether it's positive or negative. It is very much a part of their world. And once again, they're questioning how much of my previous history am I allowed to express to where I am now. And this is my new permanent family, my new parents. And no matter how long your child's been with you, this is something that they're going to have in their mind when they are looking at this holiday. And so the thing to remember is that all these traditions, all of these different cultural kind of expectations, they are major. And they're going to have some kind of pressure that's being put on them. And then that could easily build up in a way that's not necessarily good for them, because if it's not able to be expressed, then it's just going to stay there and keep getting pushed down with the pressure. And then it can easily come back up.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I'm glad it makes sense.
So now that we've talked about these major holidays and the intense emotions that come with them, what are some potential things that parents could do to kind of manage those big emotions, those intense moments that their child might be having?
Yeah, exactly. So we're always trying to make sure that you have a takeaway so that you can know how to manage these things now that you're aware of what's going on. Okay? So there's a number of different things you could say, but the number one thing that I would say is a strategy that sounds like two different things, but it really is one thing together, because you can't have one piece without the other. So my strategy to you would be to listen and give permission.
That's powerful.
Exactly. So what are you listening for? So it's two things you're listening for, really. The first thing you're listening for is, during your conversation, you got to get in there. You got to get curious. You got to have that conversation with your child. No matter how young they are, there is a way that they can express to you what is going on. And what you're listening for is, what was their previous experience like? What are those memories? Good, bad, in between. It's all relevant. It's all important information. So you want to find out what that was like for them. And to really, as you're listening, do the second part, which is listen for a match. And not everything is going to be overlap, but there are definite things that could be a way of connecting their previous world, their previous experience, to where they are with you now. And that can be something that's actually very positive to acknowledge. Maybe it just kind of organically happened on its own, right? But to have it to be intentionally acknowledged could really take that question mark out of your child's head. And to be able to say, oh yeah, that actually is something there. Or even a small part of what they previously experienced that you could just kind of put in there. If they have a food that was a really significantly positive thing, that's not a big deal for you to put in there, you say, sure, we'll make sure you have that. And that can really be something that helps them feel like, oh, wow, that part of my life is relevant and matters here where I am now, which is a really cool thing. So that's definitely the first part. Listening and for what their experience was, and then listening for that match, that overlap. And then right hand in hand with that listening, you give permission. Now, you're asking, give permission for what? What does that mean? You give permission, one, for your child to acknowledge and honor their previous life.
That's good.
Their previous family, their previous relationship with their parent, birth parent, foster parent, whatever that parent is, because it is there. It is real. It's not going to go away just because it's not acknowledged. So give them permission to have that expression, whatever that looks like for them. And then you, as the parent, also give them permission to not have to 100% join in on all of the cultural things that come with those holidays. They are there. They are important to you, and it's not to say that they shouldn't be acknowledged, because obviously they are a part of your family and who you are, and that child is coming into this family.
Okay.
Right? And at the same time, it's a lot of pressure to just expect to fall in line and to get all of this and to learn what all of that whole new world is right from the beginning. Maybe your child has lived with you for a couple or a few years already at this point. And it still doesn't mean that it's 100% for them. Okay? So give them permission.
Yeah.
Take the pressure off of them and just allow them to have certain things that maybe they do want to do or they don't want to do. And then as you go along, the years go along, then they'll be able to kind of make it their own. And you as a family will be able to make it your own.
That's right. Yep.
Keep the things that are important and then let some other things go.
Mm-hmm. So I'm getting it. Yeah. I'm getting what you're saying, with the permission, with listening, paying attention. Mm-hmm. What I'm really getting is that maybe as a parent, we need to slow down a little bit, take things a little bit slower, pay attention to your child.
Absolutely.
And see where they are.
Yeah.
make adjustments according to maybe not so much the child, but according to your culture. Because your culture, my culture might be different than that child.
Sure.
So instead of putting it all on the child, maybe I can make some adjustments
Yeah.
to kind of ease the tension, ease those big emotions, and not be so intense about something like these holidays that we just talked about.
Exactly. Yep. Because these holidays, they're going to come every year, no matter what. So
And they're important.
they are.
They might be very important to you, me,
And
all of
and-
us, and they might be very important to that child as well.
Exactly. Your child has a very real history, and this is all part of it. And so the idea is that you, as a parent, you can have the benefit of being aware ahead of time when these things are coming.
That's
and
right.
to do exactly what we're talking about: prepare, predict, and prevent the negative aspect of these things taking over, getting the pressure built up, and then having that trigger so that you can actually feel like, you know what? This is something that actually is manageable now.
That's
Okay?
good. Yeah.
So that would wrap up, I think, nicely today's adoption chat corner.
It's powerful.
What about you? What do you think?
I think it was really powerful.
Okay.
Thank you very much for those gems.
Oh, my pleasure.
I got something out of it.
Okay.
I hope you got something out of it.
Exactly. That is definitely the goal. It's for you as a parent to make sure that these are beneficial for you. So let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, definitely leave a comment in the
If you comment
Below.
below, you can actually have a chat with the one and only.
the one and only Ayanna Brotherson. And therefore, there'll be some real way to feel like we're interacting, which is always always a pleasure, always the thing to do, always my goal. So I hope this has been helpful for you. I hope you've been able to get something out of it. And that's what these chats are about. So be sure to join us for our next Adoption Chat Corner, where we get some real relevant in your world issues. We talk about them in a nice casual way over some coffee or tea. And we actually get to the bottom of things, which is always the best way to do it. So in the meantime, until our next chat, you take care.
Bye for now.
Bye now. So if you found the information in this video helpful, and you found yourself saying to yourself, you know what, this sounds like me, and this is something that really, applies to my world, then that's a good thing, and you are in the right place. My name is Ayanna Brotherson, and I have been helping adoptive parents just like you feel more confident in their parenting, take better control of what's going on with their child, and to understand what's going on with them, and to have less tantrums, less outbursts, and have a more peaceful home every day. So be sure to like, comment below, and follow me so that we can keep content like this coming for you on a regular basis. And if you want more information, make sure to click the link in my bio and I'll make sure to get it to you. In the meantime, take care, and I will see you in the next video.